In today's practice session for Sunday's big race, determined to celebrate turning 50 with a 10th title.
Bob's first Bathurst win, and you are lucky, Al. You are.
A cake reminded a past Brock rival, Alan Moffat, of his first victory at Bathurst 25 years ago. Moffat's management material now, while a half a century on, Brock still has the cheek of a boy racer.
Stretching the laws of physics to their nth degree, you know, I just love it.
Last year, Brock was in a winning position until he crashed late in the race. A young man not even thought of when Peter Perfect won his first Bathurst in '72, went on to finish second. This year, 21-year-old Craig Lowndes is in Brock's other car.
I'd love to see him win his 10th, but no, if we're in the running to win my first, well, hopefully I can do that.
Pit lane is always a hotbed of intrigue. High on the agenda this time, the relationship between Glenn Seaton and Alan Jones. Teammates, but rivals next season. Jones has a unique sponsorship deal tied up with Seaton's current backer. Seaton's cupboard is bare. With plenty of work just to make the race is Peter McLeod, after crashing his car at over 260 kilometres an hour. He escaped injury. The car needs major surgery.
Now finance news and the Australian...
So lucky.
Two V8s will line up for the big race, all either Holden Commodores or Ford Falcons. Also this year, a family affair with 4 second-generation teams, including 5-time winner Jim Richards and son Stephen, and title holder Dick Johnson and his son Stephen.
All dads who are racing drivers would like to think that their sons can sort of follow in their footsteps more or less.
Well, yeah, I can't wait. I mean, it's, like I said, it's a great opportunity and one that you look forward to throughout your career.
A possible career in the making, Charlie Aquilima, Sports Tonight competition winner for the drive of your life with former Bathurst winner Tony Longhurst.
Oh, that was good. That was great. Good driver.
In the opening practice session, Peter Brock in early form with the fastest lap time only 3 seconds outside the record. Not so successful Larry Perkins, the Seaton team also coming to grief.
Race get down to serious business today with the first official qualifying runs. Commodore driver Peter McLeod has spent a long night in the garage after all but destroying his car yesterday. Peter Brock recorded the best time in the first practice session around the challenging mountain circuit, but he admitted this is only the beginning.
And the team's pretty happy about being quickest. I dare say Dick will have a few words to say about that. We'll wait to see what happens on Sunday.
Australian Rugby League captain
winner Larry Perkins has claimed provisional pole for Sunday's great race, setting a new lap record. Perkins shattered the old mark by almost 1.5 seconds. Behind him, Mark Scaife, Wayne Gardner and Glenn Seaton.
Seconds, the crucial commodity, qualifying now against the clock. Glenn Seaton believes slow driver changes in the pits responsible for his second placing at Sandown a few weeks ago. Today, the 30-year-old's only goal, taking the checkered flag on Sunday. Drive of the day belonged to 1993 Bathurst winner Larry Perkins, the Victorian running a record lap of 2 minutes 12.02, almost 1.5 seconds below the old mark. Drama for British touring car champ John Cleland, ploughing into a wall at the crest of the mount. Cleland OK, the car undrivable. Trouble also for David Attard's Commodore. Catherine Lamond, 10 News.
A busy night. That is our sport, George.
Thank you. 3 Commodores followed, led by Mark Scaife and Jim Richards, the best of the Fords being Glenn Seaton and Alan Grice in 5th. But final placings will be determined on Saturday. Chris Dittmar, 7 Nightly News.
That's all in sport tonight.
Racing car drive. The scorching time that broke the old lap record by 1.5 seconds.
Track improvements and a recent drenching, conditions were ideal for fast times. This morning, it was Scaife who set the benchmark. He was beaming after a day at the office.
The car's great, so let's hope that the improvement continues.
Also well pleased, former world motorcycling champ Wayne Gardner. There was an animated post-mortem.
It's straightening.
And like Scaife, can only see things getting better.
I made a couple of small mistakes over the top and knocking a wheel here and there. So I feel there's a little bit of time, but I guess we all say that. But yes, I'm very happy with the time.
But it was Larry Perkins who was the mountain's main man today, followed by Scaife and Gardner. Peter Brock is very much on the pace, fourth fastest. Glenn Seaton just behind him. Not everybody had a good day. The Tony Scott and John Cleland Commodore spinning and then found a cement barrier. A crowd G-up found an appropriate response. Ken Sutcliffe for Nightline.
In business news, reports tonight that
Big V8s in one adrenaline-charged lap of white-knuckle terror. See Brock, Johnson, Perkins and Seaton. Exclusive to 7 Sport, the Tooheys Top 10, Saturday.
From Bathurst, the great race. The Tooheys 1000 from 7:30 Sunday morning.
Hi, Shirley. Okay.
Back in the official
Was born on race weekend last year.
Jenny Motorshead and husband Stephen have been coming to the Tooheys 1000 for 17 years. But last year's one they'll never forget. With motor racing their passion, what could be better? Their son coming into the world at Mount Panorama. And of course, they proudly christened him Brock.
We've been Holden supporters for the last 30-odd years or whatever. And Peter Brock being the best driver in the world.
Oh, I think everyone fully expected it. We had it planned for a while.
Today, baby Brock was given his first car back up the mount to celebrate his first birthday.
Happy birthday to you! Hip, hooray! Hip, hooray!
Mum and Dad say with all the excitement of Panorama, there's no way their son won't grow up with a love for racing.
He'll be here.
Every year until he's old enough to say,
make
I
up
don't
his
want to
own
come
mind, and then he'll
anymore,
probably
you're
come with
all
ill plates.
But what happens if Brock grows up and he decides he doesn't like motor racing?
Well, I hope he decides to be a bank manager.
He can own the cars.
Provisional poll for Sunday's Bathurst 1000. But most of the talk on the mountain today surrounded a spectacular crash in a support class qualifying session. Driver Glenn Mason escaped serious injury after his Suzuki jumped a concrete safety barrier.
While the Tooheys 1000 is the big race, qualifying for the Suzuki Cup support class caused most drama today. Driver Glenn Mason involved in this spectacular crash. Mason has a fractured skull. He's in Bathurst District Hospital in a satisfactory condition. An accident also in the Super Tourers. Queensland's Ian Palmer uninjured after smashing into a wall atop the mount. Larry Perkins claimed provisional pole covering the course in 2 minutes 11.57, beating Glenn Seaton's Falcon by 0.03 of a second. Early race favourites and title holders Dick Johnson and John Bowe came in third, with Brock fourth. Dominating enduro racing for the last 14 months, Johnson believes the enforced aerodynamic changes to Falcon's undertray, which reduced front-end grip, have affected performance.
Well, it certainly pegged us back a long way. We're considerably slower than we were here in earlier in the year in March, and you know, we really should be a lot faster because we've had improvements with the engine.
Probably any of 6 or 8 cars that could win, and there's no way I'm going to single one car out as the opposition. It's everyone, and I just hope if we can follow our own plan and everything goes fine, that we're going to be the ones.
If you were superstitious, your money would be on Tony Longhurst. In 1988, when he won here, he swapped cars and sponsors and crashed during a race at Symonds Plains in Tasmania 6 months prior. This year, he crashed again in Tassie and he's changed cars and sponsors, and on Sunday, he turns 38.
I can only hope, but I'm not superstitious, but the year's been very similar to the year in '88 when I did win, but the competition's a lot tougher now than what it was then.
Catherine Lamond, 10 News.
Should be an outstanding event.
Tonight,
Allegations a big Adelaide drug ring has sold heroin worth millions.
A remarkable story of survival from practice at Bathurst.
And finals footy fever from both sides of the border.
Good evening. Onlookers watched in horror as driver Glenn Mason and his Suzuki came to grief on a bend. Most could hardly believe he survived.
Horrified witnesses were certain it was a death roll. At 200 kilometres an hour, the Suzuki GTI clips an inside curb and bounces over a concrete fence on the Caltex straight section. The driver, Glenn Mason, is helpless as the car continues to roll down an embankment and into a paddock. When emergency teams got to the scene, they found Mason still alive and actually conscious, suffering a cut to the head but no serious injuries. His car was anything but intact. Some of the wreckage recovered up to 100 metres away. A slow-motion replay reveals just how lucky Mason was. The momentum generated by the initial impact ensuring the vehicle doesn't spear into the concrete barrier. His roll cage the crucial difference between life and death. Mason was taken to Bathurst Hospital. He's now in a satisfactory condition after a CAT scan gave him the all clear. The crash happened a year to the day after driver Don Watson died during qualifying for the Touring Car Classic. Mason had also been practicing for a support event on the Tooheys 1000 program featuring standard production cars. Adam Malters, 7 Nightly News.
More buses for...
The limits of adhesion were tested early in qualifying for the Tooheys 1000 when Ian Palmer kissed the wall in his Commodore and then slammed backwards into the concrete.
If you're going to have a big accident, you might as well have it here, because at least you know you can get it fixed.
The battle for provisional pole was a race in 3 between 93 Great Race winner Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore, defending champion John Bow, and last year's pole winner Glenn Seaton.
It's going to be an interesting shootout tomorrow, I'll tell you, between... there's probably 10 cars there that can be on pole position, so it's going to be a hell of a run.
Hundredths of a second separated the trio until Perkins put provisional pole under his belt with a super lap of 2:11.57.
I'm not too worried about what the Fords are doing, but I think our authorities have got it pretty right, and there's only 200ths of a second between a Holden and a Falcon, but the Holden's come out on front and it's my Holden, so I'm very happy.
Tomorrow morning's top 10 Tooheys shootout will be the final chance for the fast-time drivers to improve before Sunday's race. Mike Raymond at Bathurst for 7 Nightly News.
Panorama circuit can extract. New South Wales driver Glenn Mason lost control of his car in the main straight, and the result was frightening.
Supposedly a kink in Conrod Straight to wash off speed, Caltex Chase became a massive undoing for Glenn Mason. Given the state of the car, serious injury seemed inevitable, but Mason was conscious when released from the wreck and reportedly suffering from a cut to the head. His will go down as one of Bathurst's greatest escapes, the little Suzuki rotating at least 10 times before landing. That experience still counts for so much on the mountain was clear in the robust assault of Larry Perkins. As a privateer, Larry still shows the factory teams the way, but the hunt for next year's sponsor has Glenn Seaton only hundredths of a second adrift. Tomorrow, the top 10 shoot out for grid positions, repairs more a priority for Ian Palmer. And things are already running hot at the European Rallycross Championships. Champion Kenneth Hansen was leading when his car's engine exploded. Hansen escaped the flames, but his bid for back-to-back titles went up in smoke. And the Kangaroos have arrived in Manchester for Rugby League's
of one of the world's premier motorsports events, live from Bathurst, a great race on the 7 network, the Tooheys 1000, from 7:30 Sunday morning.
A reminder about the big match tomorrow.
For tomorrow's Tooheys 1000.
For the second year in a row, the Mount Panorama track claimed 9 times Bathurst winner Peter Brock.
Really tricky corner this is.
Whoa, lost it. Oh, and he's hit the wall big time too.
Brock's support team was stunned by his early exit. The man nicknamed Peter Perfect mistiming the early bends.
Brock has overcooked it coming into the dipper, and he's paid the ultimate price.
The Commodore team of Mazzara and Brock will still start tomorrow 10th on the grid. Better fortune for the other 4 Holdens in today's shootout. The top 4 spots all claimed by Commodores. Young gun Craig Lowndes setting the pace. The 21-year-old put pressure on the more experienced drivers, finishing fastest in 2 minutes 11.55 seconds. Mark Scaife made a return to form to share the front row. Larry Perkins, who dominated qualifying during the week, slipped to 3rd.
Congratulations to young Craig if he did the best. Just got to get it right now for tomorrow.
Wayne Gardner making up the 4th Holden in the first 2 rows. Ford's hopes rest with Glenn Seaton and Alan Jones on row 3. Father and son Dick and Steve Johnson share the 4th row. Heidi Ahrens, 10 News.
And overseas.
Upstage, Glenn Mason's brushed with death yesterday. Today, he told of his miraculous escape.
Glenn Mason hobbled around Bathurst Hospital today, his remarkable escape from yesterday's spectacular crash just starting to sink in.
I remember waking up in the ambulance with all the paramedics, who were pretty good. And from there on, the actual instance of the crash, I got no idea.
Knocked unconscious on impact, Mason's roll cage saved his life. He might be bruised all over, but a broken thumb and cheekbone are his most serious injuries. Incredibly, the 32-year-old from Parramatta crashed in the same spot 2 years ago.
Bathurst is it, you'd always come back.
Tomorrow he'll join the thousands already at Mount Panorama to watch the big race in its 33rd year. Campers packed the mountain, none keener than the members of the Panorama Palace. They've been coming for 25 years. In the pits, crews were fine-tuning their cars in a frantic bid to get the edge when the big race starts tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Natalie Barr, 7 Nightly News.
Now on the big day in sport, here's the grid in tomorrow's big race. While Brocky slammed his Commodore into a wall, his 21-year-old teammate Craig Lowndes upstaged the big guns to snatch pole position.
5 Fords and 5 Holdens split the traditional Tooheys top 10 lineup at the mountain. Sentimental favourites Peter Brock, Dick Johnson and Larry Perkins were expected to dictate the pace. However, Wayne Gardner was the early improver in the Coke Commodore. And there were the Johnsons, 50-year-old Dick and his 21-year-old offspring Stephen. Junior out-qualified Dad, but then the real surprise when last year's runner-up Craig Lowndes turned in a blinder at 2:11.55, the fastest time all week at the Mount.
Still my dream to win the race, and now we've got to go on from where we've started and we've put it on pole. It's the best position you can start the race, so at the moment we're sitting good.
Mark Scaife came out firing in the Winfield Commodore to rip off another 2:11 lap, second fastest and turning up the pressure on those yet to run. Peter Brock then emerged to a sustained chant from spectators. Regrettably, Brocky did not make half a lap before creasing the wall. No time, and 3rd to 10th for tomorrow's big lineup.
Rear wheels just locked up the last moment. Bit of a just sending the tail out and hit the wall. Bit embarrassing, but well, that's life.
This power slide from Glenn Seaton cost him a quickie, and when Larry Perkins could not repeat his mark from yesterday, Craig Lowndes had pole position for the great race. Mike Raymond at Bathurst for 7 Nightly News.
The Adelaide 36ers charge towards
to be Peter Brock's backyard.
Here's a guy that does have a few laps around here.
Yeah. But as Brock climbed the mountain on his flying lap for pole position, Peter was far from perfect.
Whoa, he's lost it. Oh, and he's hit the wall big time. 2 big hits.
Replays revealed a combination of cold tyres and BP cuttings' narrow margin for error brought Brock undone. A concerned pit crew soon discovered bruised ego was the only damage to their driver, but car 05 requires surgery and Brock will start tomorrow's race from 10th place. Teammate Craig Lowndes kept his Commodore on the straight and narrow. The 21-year-old flew the flag for boy races, and on today's performance, all signs point to a changing of the guard.
To racing in the